Good morning, Matt Bisogno from ggs.co.uk here, and I've got a big announcement as the flat season is about to get underway. We've got some new data about to hit the GG's gold and light profiles, and I can't wait to share it with you. So let's dive into it. As of the start of April 2025, we've integrated Betfair exchange data into our race cards and form tools. So you've now got Betfair Starting Price, Betfair Place Starting Price, and the in-running high and low prices from Betfair. Let's take a look. This is from my test rig, so there's no images on here, but you can see the data in line. Let's take a look first at the horse form, and here you see the very familiar layout, but there's a new column here for BSP. And you can see that the Betfair SP is in this column. I just want to try and find one with some bigger prices if I can. We'll do that in a minute anyway. So BSP appears behind the horse form icon. Jockey form also has BSP profit and loss. So does trainer form for all of the components that we capture. So the recent form and of course longer term form, as well as the snippets, 2-year snippets. Not on head to head. Report angles also has BSP, except on certain reports like hot form, which is unfortunately the one I've selected here. You can see here on the trainer stats that we've got a BSP entry there. Ditto on any query tool angles you might be storing, although there is a nuance to that which we'll come to. And sire snippets also has a BSP profit and loss column. So that's the race card. If we move over to full form, you can see that we have a horse race record with BSP PL, and if we're on, for example, trainer, we can then look at the trainer's record in specific situations, like maybe with his horses at this track. We can see that on the flat at Musselburgh, Ian Jardine has done very well, 13% win rate, and profitable at SP and Betfair SP. If we go further down and look at the constituent form rows for his runners, we can see over here the Betfair SPs, this 50 to 1 winner at BSP, 33 to 1 at Industry SP would have definitely helped those numbers up there. We can see the place Betfair SP column here, and we can see the in-running high and low prices. So when a horse wins, as Zafir did on the 6th of November, the in-running low price is almost always 1.01, the shortest price possible. So we show the in-running high, and when a horse is beaten, as in these other rows here, we show the shortest price it traded in running. So in the case of Bint Al Karama, it traded at 6.4, which was its Betfair SP in running. So those data are available for all of these, and can be sorted as such. And yeah, they're very interesting. A very interesting additional component in your full form analysis. Profiler also has the data in there now. So again, if we look at, let's look at Andrew Mullen this time, and select flat only. Let's have a look in handicaps, and at today's track. We'll just get rid of the chart for a minute because I'm not really interested in that. And you can see in the constituent blocks tables down in Profiler that we've got a Betfair SP column now. And you can see that today's conditions are highlighted. So for instance, in class 6 handicaps, there's a very large Betfair SP profit, but the percentage of rivals is only about what we would expect. So you need to be a little bit careful with some of these numbers, but certainly you'll see in most cases that the Betfair SP profit and loss is more attractive than the industry SP for obvious reasons. So this is a great new addition on Profiler as well. You'll also see it in line on Instant Expert. So if we select any particular row, you can see these data here. And on the pace and draw tab, now pace isn't maintained particularly on my dev rig, but you can see that we've got the Betfair SP column here. Likewise for draw, we have Betfair SP in each of the tables, so you can sort by, or you can look at the tables by Betfair SP there if you'd like to. Finally, we need to look at a result. Let's go back to last Saturday. It doesn't really matter. Go to Utoxeter. And we can see that on the result tab, we've also got the Betfair SP. So we've got the starting price Betfair SP, the place Betfair SP, easy for me to say, and the in-running high and low again. So all of those data are available across the race card. Now, they're not just available on the race cards, they're also available in the reports and tools sections. So let's take a look at some of those. We go to the reports menu, which again looks different on my test rig here. And we'll go down to, let's try a trainer jockey combo. Just going to change the size so it doesn't look so wonky. Okay, so I've got some filters going on here, actually just the one for Betfair SP. I'm just going to clear that. So we've got all of the data here now, and I like to sort generally by percentage of rivals beaten, because I think it's a more accurate barometer. We'll just put 5 runners in there to get rid of those 100%ers. Okay, so we can see, for instance, that Phil McEntee has a great record in the last 14 days. We can see the Betfair SP profit and loss here. If we look at, that's today's runner, unification, but if we press this little arrow up, we'll get the 5 horses that form this sample size here, and we can see the 3 winners. You can also see on the right hand side the Betfair SPs. You can order by Betfair SP, and you can see that basically if they're fancied, they've run well, and the longer priced ones ran less well. Now obviously this is a tiny sample size, but if we look at a more meaningful sample size, let's make this 25 plus. And again, do the same thing. We can have a look at Jessica Harrington and Shane Foley at Gowran. And we can do the same thing here. So just click on the BSP column, and we can see that some of their runners were, they were all single figure winners. But there was a 9-1 that returned 12.5 BSP. Another one that returned 11.91, and a 13-2 in there as well. So Harrington and Foley have a number of representatives today. The single figure ones would all be potentially of some interest. Certainly the price wouldn't put you off anyway. And again, you can see quite clearly that there's an uplift from starting price on pretty much all of the runners at Betfair SP. So definitely something to think about if you're not already thinking about it. One thing I should say is that all of the quoted BSPs are calculations include so these profit and loss calculations use a 2% commission, not a 5%, Everybody can get 2% on Betfair, and I'll show you below this video how you can do that. You just it's just an option in your account. So if you've got a Betfair account, you just go to your rewards and choose the basic plan, which means you don't get any of the sort of promos in the sportsbook, if you're lucky enough to still be able to have a bet in the sportsbook. But you can get 2% commission on all markets in the exchange, right? So I'll show you how to do that in a sec. Okay, so there are a bunch of other reports that operate in exactly the same way. So trainer snippets, for instance. Let's have a look at second start in a handicap, which I think can be, I'm just going to clear those parameters up there, can be quite interesting sometimes with some trainers. Nothing massively striking on there today. This K Nichols character has a horse here that might be of vague interest. Certainly worth having a look at the form case anyway, and so on. You can do the same for first handicap or any of the other criteria that you like. And yeah, and you've got the Betfair SP column there as well. So those are the reports. Now the BSP data isn't available for all reports. It's available for the sort of the entity reports, if you like. So jockeys, trainers, and sires, but not for horses for courses, head to head, hot form, and those and the like, shortlist and so on. So wherever there's a starting price, profit and loss, you'll pretty much find a Betfair starting price, profit and loss, but there might be one or two exceptions from that. So those are the reports. And finally, we've brought Betfair data to our tools as well. So let's start by looking at the profiler. We've already looked at it in line in the card, and it won't be a huge surprise to see that it looks very similar in the profiler tool. So let's have a look at this. I've selected Richard Hannon, the trainer here. 2 years I've got, and you can see his data for all sorts of parameters on the page. You can also see this Betfair SP column. So let's have a look at, say, flat only handicaps after 60 plus days. And I'm, just random number generator basically. But you can see that, what can we see? For example, that well, essentially he didn't have a fantastic record after 60 days. Let's try handicaps returning to the track within 10 days. This is a bit more interesting, particularly with the higher class horses, although they're small sample sizes. Returning to the track with headgear has been a profitable angle, albeit small sample size again. As ever, I would encourage you to look at percentage of rivals beaten as a kind of a belts and braces check on percentage strike rates and profit figures. So you're looking for a high PRB, certainly above 0.5 and ideally above 0.55, as well as some of those numbers that you like in the win columns as well. So that's profiler, pretty much the same as the on the card, except that you can choose any horse, trainer, jockey or sire on the tool rather than just the ones running today on the card. Let's have a look at the draw analyzer. Again, we've seen the draw tab on the race card. The draw analyzer works in a similar way. Let's have a look at Catterick on fast ground, actual draw handicaps, 10 plus runners. And again, we can see this sort of PRB improvement from low to high. You can see the BSP columns appear. You've got BSP profit and loss in the charts if you want to look at that. And see there. And in the draw and run style combination charts, you've also got Betfair SP profit and loss. And you'll find similar data, again, the BSP column on the pace analyzer as well. And finally, and perhaps most excitingly of all, in the query tool, we have also added Betfair starting price data. So let's have a quick look at what I tend to use as my quick check is Laytown, because it's a small sample size. You can see that we've got this BSP profit and loss column here. One thing I should have said earlier is that on all of the reports and as well on QT, we've got you can filter data in the reports and in the query tool responses by a Betfair SP profit and loss range, as well as all of the other things that you're used to up to this point. So let's have a little bit of fun here, and let's find out which are the best tracks for front runners, the best flat turf tracks for front runners in handicaps of 8 runners or more. So if I just do that, it's quite a big sample size, 118,000 runners here. And you can see the filters I've got: flat turf handicaps 8+ runners last 5 years. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say pace score 4, which means a horse led. Now obviously we don't know which horse is going to lead in a race before the race, but we can make some inferences based on what the runners have done in recent runs. So let's have a look at this, and then what we'll do is we will order it by course, breakdown by course. So if I click generate report there, and now we go to the summary data. So sorry, what I've got here is I've got horses that led in flat turf handicaps with 8 or more runners in the last 5 years, broken down by course. And we could order by win percent, but that's the average field size will change from track to track, so that's a little bit misleading. But what we can do is we can filter by impact value, which kind of smooths out that inequity of field size. So let's do that, and it's largely the same but not exactly the same. So for instance, you can see these 20% ones are down here, whereas 17% are up here. So this is as it should be, essentially. There's a sea of black, and that's because if you were clairvoyant and you could pick the front runner in every single race, the game would be very, very easy for you. Unfortunately, it's not that easy, because we can't, as I say, we can't project which horses will lead in their races, but we can make some inferences. And this sea of black with just the small interjections of red font for negative numbers shows you why we should spend time on the flat trying to do that. We can see also that where the SP profit and loss is a nice number, the BSP profit and loss figure is an even nicer number, and this is almost always the case. In the case of Beverly, for example, a small red becomes a tidy black when we're looking at converting from industry SP to Betfair SP. We've also got the ROI columns here, Betfair SP ROI as well as SP ROI, so you can see those numbers there. So the best tracks for front runners are Sligo and Galway and Naas and Roscommon and Punchestown and Gowran and Navan, all of which are Irish tracks. That's quite interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I would definitely focus more. I mean, I knew about Sligo and Galway, but less so about these other tracks. And then if we want to look at the least attractive courses for front runners, Goodwood, that's a little bit surprising. Killarney, Thurles, Limerick, Sandown, Epsom, Yarmouth, and so on. I could have put a race distance. In fact, I will put a race distance. I'm going to make it 7 furlongs, up to 7 furlongs. So now my filters have changed. So I've got front runners in flat turf handicaps of 8+, 8 or more, up to 7 furlongs in the last 5 years. And again, we're sorted lowest to highest impact value. Goodwood is bottom of the pile, along with Cork and Newbury and Yarmouth. This is sort of more like what I expected, with the straight tracks being at the bottom of the pile. It tends to be the case that round a bend it's kind of easier to maintain a lead. So Sligo and Galway, these tracks go round a bend. I think we've got even more Irish tracks at the top of the pile now. And anyway, yep. So there are no there are no negatives from a profit and loss perspective. If you manage to find that crystal ball, you've got the game by the short and curlies. For the rest of us, we'll have to use a few other angles in, but you can see here the real power of early speed in races, and you can see how you can kind of accentuate that edge, or any edge you've got, by using the exchange rather than the starting price. Now, one final point to make, and it's an important point, is that if you're on GG's, the extreme likelihood is that you are not betting at starting price anyway. You're betting at either a best odds guaranteed price, if you can get that, or you're taking an early price, which would often, though not exclusively, often be better than starting price. So there are lots of ways that us smart punters with good data beat starting price habitually, and we do need to think about whether our consistency in beating starting price erodes into this advantage that that the exchange starting price has. So what I'm essentially saying in a nutshell is that the disparity between exchange starting price and industry starting price is generally not going to be as wide as it looks on here, because we are not betting at starting price, industry starting price. We're betting at an early price, often with a concession that means that if the starting price is bigger, we'll get that. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these data and when you're deciding where to place your bet. But this information is really a real uplift for GG's. I'm very excited to finally share it with you. I hope with Query Tool that it's going to really improve your research and make you more excited about possibilities going forwards. Obviously, as with everything in the Query Tool, past performance doesn't guarantee future success. So caveat emptor, you need to be careful. Things can look very exciting, particularly if you try to predict the future in terms of front runners like this, but we need to keep it real and dial back on that. Just one final thing to say on this, which I do need to mention. So in terms of the Query Tool angles, let me just find something where I've got a runner today. So let's have a look at, actually that one's no good. Let's try this one. Okay, so we've got this 207 at Musselburgh. So if I just go to the race card a second, I want to open that in a new tab. Okay, so you can see I've got these blue numbers above 0 in the Query Tool angles boxes. And if you look at this one, this 2-year-old ready to go, which I set up some aeons ago, you can see that there is an empty space for Betfair SP profit and loss. Now, we haven't figured out yet how to update all of the Query Tool angles to include the Betfair data. But if you want to do it for your angles, this is how you do it. So in the Query Tool, on the Angles tab, you choose your angle, 2-year-old ready to go, click generate report to get the to pull in the data that you had. So this is my angle as I saved it way back when, and then on the angles tab, click update settings. It's going to say updating angle, are you sure? I hope you can see this box. You can't always see this box on the videos, but there's a little dialog box comes up that makes sure, ask you if you're certain that you want to update. Click yes or OK on there. Your angle will be updated, and then if you go back to the race card and refresh that page, I'll just do that quickly here. And then open up the query tool angle. Voila! You have your BSP populated. So you can see on this tab, for example, the two horses that have the 2-year-old ready to go angle on them have the BSP populated. The one that I haven't yet updated, BSP jocks, especially front running, is still a blank. So I need to go through all of my angles and update them, and it doesn't take a very long time. In fact, I'll show you how long it takes to do them now. I obviously won't do them all, but you basically go pull in the angle, generate report, update settings, OK. Pull in the angle, generate report, update settings, OK. Pull in the angle, generate report, update settings, OK. And so on. And it is as simple as that. A little bit time consuming, especially if you've got kind of 50 or 100 angles. It's going to take maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but once it's done, it's done. Any new angles that you save will be remembered, and they will have their BSP data as a matter of course. So this is only for historical angles that were already in your query tool angles. So that's it. That's Betfair starting price data, which I'm super excited to share with you on GG's. It's been a long time coming. Really happy to have it. I'm sure it will help you with your research. Yeah, it's there as of now. Go ahead, have a play, and good luck. Matt Bisogno saying thank you for being a GG's subscriber. If you're not one already, there are places on this page where you can change that. You can take a trial for 30 days for £1 if you've never tried it before. If you've tried it before, maybe just take a couple of days ticket for £8 to remind yourself, or a week for 15, or just go ahead and dive straight in with a light subscription for a month for £20, or a gold subscription for a month for 40. Discounts on longer term subs. So that's it. Thank you very much. Enjoy the Betfair data, and yeah, can't wait to see how you get on with it. Bye for now.